Well, I can give why I got into Bitcoin and sort of why I'm interested in contributing to its success. Uh, I sort of have a similar timeline to Steve. Sort of learned about Bitcoin, quite a while ago, but ultimately or initially kind of dismissed it because the digital gold narrative did not really appeal to me. I was maybe more of the like what can be built, what kind of interesting things can be built around it. If it's just gold, it's just a marker of value. It's, we have gold, we have other things, like it didn't seem to matter that much to me. But I do think that the narrative of like, oh, world computer, you can build all kinds of stuff with these cryptocurrencies. I think that was initially what got me like very excited to actually spend a lot more time in mental cycles trying to understand what these things are all about. And I sort of spent a bunch of time in that era and ultimately recognized that Bitcoin is very different. It has very different properties than any of the other stuff. And that all of the like potential building that we wanted to do or would imagine could be done was not actually very sustainable or durable types of things. Like here we are, Steve mentioned 2017 of January, here we are, January 2025. And it's hard to say that there's an on-chain application that really matters. There's, and so it's, you can say, hey, let's give another 10 years. Like maybe that's what we need. But I think ultimately, like most of the applications that claim to be cryptocurrency related are actually payment related. And Bitcoin is a better payment mechanism than any of the other ones, or let's say is a better money mechanism. And payments is one feature of money that maybe we don't have fully solved yet. But it's hard to imagine that you can replace other features of like just get payment side right and screw up the limited supply or kind of neutrality. So I sort of went through that similar kind of up and down with it and got very excited about Bitcoin because I started to understand how neutral it was. And that's really what matters to me is I almost feel like, and I'd sort of, I think I was initially attracted to a lot of it. The hype, a lot of it was created by, the number go up stuff. And, I'd already made money at this point. I was not trying to like get rich on Bitcoin, but I was like, oh, like I should allocate appropriately. Like I should allocate in a way that is, that recognizes the future and that participates in the future. So it wasn't about like, oh, Bitcoin could be this get rich quick scheme, but it's more like, this is a smart allocation of capital. And then I kind of started realizing, oh, like anything else is actually kind of a dumb allocation of capital. Like it kind of flipped for me that nothing really looked good compared to the neutrality of Bitcoin. And so the thing that I start like the chancellor on the brink, the timestamp, the no pre-mining, all of those things were pretty, like the way mining and the network and who gets to do what and how nobody needs anybody else's permission. Those kinds of things seem to me like such a fundamental new idea, and we just have no way to implement it before we had this. So I think about like the way any corporation or government works, it's almost all like who you're close to, who do you know, who likes you. It's all this like human favoritism in a sense, like, which is like kind of natural. Just people like to do stuff with people they like to do stuff with. It's fine. But it also means that every one of these institutions has this like layer of untruth or kind of these control points or these points where people sort of use their position to enforce their will on others instead of a system where you get a lot more neutrality because everything is clear. And so when I look at Bitcoin, maybe I was initially saying, oh, number go up, it's smart allocation. But I think what I came to believe about it is that it's the only like foundation of truth that we have is like, we know that this mining happened. We know that this block reward went to this person or to this, address. And we can know things about it at the fundamental that then let us build better things on top of it. And it's better things are often going to be payment related stuff, I think is the right thing to be looking for. But we could rebuild, what is a corporation? How does it function? I think the things that we hear about with Doge trying to make changes to slim down the US government, that is the same thing that Bitcoin is in my mind. It's like it's a reflection of the same desire, which is how do we get the kind of political, social kind of favoritism out? And how do we get to base layer of what is reality and why do people act the way they act? And to me, Bitcoin is all about like base layer of reality. Like this is why people choose to collaborate and gather around this system that nobody controls, is because we may not all agree with each other. We may not like each other, but we opt in to cooperate in this way because it helps us collaborate and achieve more. And I think that can be a great foundation for better government and a great foundation for building better technologies, making, you want to send rockets to the stars. Like, I think you need a better understanding of base reality in order to be able to do those kinds of things in the most efficient way and to benefit the most number of people. So I think I see Bitcoin as just money as just like the first problem to solve on this like multi-layered, like, why does civilization work the way it does? Why is society organized the way it does? Why do corporations organize the way they do? All of that can only work if you have an incorruptible foundation. And for me, that's what's like, so that's why I like to spend a lot of my time figuring out how does Bitcoin and sort of the message and the truth of Bitcoin, how do we bridge that into the traditional tech builder space? Because it's like a very confusing transition for a lot of people. A lot of people don't know about it, don't understand it. And I think if I can help usher some of that transition or be some of that bridge to the truth of Bitcoin, to the truth of how we build new technologies and how we get technologies to benefit more people, then I would like, to me, that's a life's work. That's a mission that I find worth pursuing, worth spending my time on.